2 to 3 years, there's been a massive sort of current, undercurrent of people who really want to get out there and grow their businesses. I also think that they won't scale to the levels that they have scaled in the past. And I think that we're probably more likely to have several hundred companies reach the 20, 30 million than maybe 2 or 3 companies reaching hundreds of millions, certainly in the sector that we're in. And the types of businesses that I see around the internet community and the online community, I think that they'll get to a certain stage, and yes, they'll get to that. But I think that's okay. And I think that like having a larger number of medium-sized businesses is actually quite attractive, rather than trying to scale big, huge things that ultimately could fail. So I think it is a change in dynamic, and it goes back to what I was saying about the EI support for that. I don't think the support mechanisms are quite right to build that type of larger number of smaller companies, and we shouldn't try to create too many large companies, but make lots and lots and lots of small companies and give support mechanisms to those to scale. I think the other thing about the internet business is that the scaling and the monetization of online businesses isn't quite put to bed as to what's the best way to scale an internet business out of Ireland. And it really depends on if you're a business to business or a business to consumer. If you've got a business to consumer internet solution, you could scale it from Ireland, and you could base yourself here. But if you've got a business to business model like what we have, some people forget that we might be an internet business, but we still need the overseas offices. We still need to have FaceTime with the customers. We still need to develop the channels. We need to have everything in place in those countries, the contracts, the legal issues and everything. So it doesn't take away from the fact that you also have to physically grow as well, even though you might be an online business. The social media is a huge thing. I mean, if between LinkedIn, Twitter and Facebook, we only got into this quite recently, and we were kind of remiss in that we were slow to move into this area because we just didn't know much about it, and it is extremely important. We now have people who will ask us about our service via Twitter. We will have people who will ask technical inquiries about support issues via Twitter. You'll have people talking about us, and we weren't engaged in those channels and in those conversations. And the worst thing you can do is ignore them, because you are being spoken about. And one of the things that the social media has done, which is brilliant, is that it makes everybody a commentator. Now, whether you like it or not, they are commentators, and they will put up on their blogs, put up on their pages, information about you and your business and your company. And there's a tendency to kind of turn the blind eye to this, because you just turn off the PC and you fool yourself into thinking that you don't see it. But it is there, and it's very, very real. And so every business needs to have what we call it an external communications policy. It's a social media policy, but in the same way as you would manage your traditional press, your traditional PR. I mean, off the top of my head, we have about 3 people who are maybe full-time involved in what we would call corporate marketing, which is all involved in also managing the social media. We've got people who would monitor Twitter. We have our Facebook page. You can all, of course, follow me as well if you like on Twitter, @Colm Lyon, and you can follow Realex Payments, and you can become a fan of our Facebook page if you wouldn't mind as well, please. That would be very helpful. And of course on LinkedIn as well. So the 3 big social media tools that we'd be using would be LinkedIn, Twitter and Facebook. And as I say, we probably came into it a little bit later than we should have as an internet business. What's interesting is that for the new products that we're launching next year, these viral opportunities will become extremely important for us in the context of the internet.